Hey, Lauren Hughes here, hanging out in Erie today. I've actually saw a property that I'm looking at purchasing for my portfolio with Hughes Capital, and I wanted to throw some things by you because I think they are of importance, and it's not just the price. There's a lot more that goes into buying an investment property, which we've been talking over the last few months. But so this property is great. The kicker is there's a tenant in there. That tenant doesn't want to leave. That tenant is also paying probably $1,000 less than market rate. So it's not an insignificant amount. The tenant has refused over 50 showings, which brings me to my next point. When you work with a property management company or you rent your unit out yourself, one of the best things I've actually done, and it is in my leases by an attorney, is I do a at my discretion up to $50 fee every time a showing is declined. Now, I don't mean I fee my tenants to death, but when they're pulling something like I'm seeing with this unit where it's been on the market for 3 months in Colorado, appropriately priced, the issue is the tenant, and he's preventing this house from being sold. So tenants can have a lot of power, and I want to make sure tenants are happy, but at the same time, I reserve the last 30. So in my lease, I reserve the last 30 days and say I have the option to show this property either for sale or for rent, and at my discretion, I can charge $50 per decline showing. I've actually never, ever charged anyone this fee, but no one's ever declined 50 showings. They've declined them for a couple days. I usually have to call and say, hey, what's going on? I explain to them the situation. I'm like, guys, and I have to be very polite about it, and it usually goes just fine. But next, on to my next topic. So we're talking about a lot in a really condensed amount of time. So if you guys ever have any questions about property management, why don't you learn from my expensive lessons and just give me a call? So the second caveat here is, one, there's a tenant that doesn't want to respect what the seller wants. All right, so if I'm the buyer, how do you think that tenant's gonna treat me? The exact same. So I'm not gonna be able to show the unit. I'm not going to be able to rent it. Having a conversation telling a tenant, hey, we need to increase your rent by $1,000. I can tell you it's not gonna go well. And heck, even if I split it, that's what I usually do if I have a tenant that's paying under market and then there's a market value. I say while the tenant stays there, we'll split the difference between what you are paying and market rate. So I can be somewhat human. I just have to have my expenses covered, and some of those rates, they're just too low, especially with the price of housing right now. So I usually say, let's come to the middle and we'll just go from there. So you're still getting a deal, and it's still going to be cheaper than anywhere else you go, but I'm not paying out of pocket for you to continue to live in my house and put wear and tear on it and damage stuff that I have to fix. So there's that caveat too. The third issue, red flag, that's going off in my head right now is, one, you have a tenant that doesn't want to leave, isn't being cooperative, also highly indicative of a potential eviction situation. Evictions are not fun. I've had to do them, and I do not like having to go to the sheriff's station to tell them, be like, hey, you need to remove these people from the home. It's not fun. I don't like doing it, and I will avoid that. And the thing is, I'm not going to be a monster here. I'm going to give you every opportunity to figure it out, and I will be reasonable too. If you need a month, you need a minute, I'll give you that. 6 months, I can't do it because I have a mortgage too. But some of these, it's just one of those situations with property management that it's the negative side. It's not the side that HGTV talks about. These are potential concerns. So number 3 is actually my biggest kicker is, if I can't come up to an agreement with this tenant, I will be forced to evict this person. Evictions cost a lot of money. So do I put that in the purchase price? Hey, there's 10 to 15 grand, and that's assuming it doesn't damage anything, because you can get someone that can get mad too, and you can always say, oh, you can sue him. Ladies and gentlemen, suing people, it's not what it appears like. People actually have to have money, and they have to actually give it to you. It's not fun, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars to recover money. So if it's less than 50 grand, it's not worth it for a lawsuit. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. That's the advanced session. So thanks guys for tuning in. Have a great afternoon.